I swear, if they can get garbage trucks to be less noisy, that would be wonderful. Every time I go to record a video, the trash truck is out there. Anyways, we're diving into a very important topic today. Stick around because some of this stuff will blow your mind. Have you ever remembered something so vividly only to find out somebody tells you later it never existed that way? That's called the Mandela Effect. Some people call it a glitch in the matrix. Other people say you just have bad memory. But I believe it's something much darker, and I believe that it's not only real that they're doing this, but it's being used against us to manipulate us. What is the Mandela Effect? The Mandela Effect is when a large group of people share the same false memory. This comes from Nelson Mandela. He was the president of South Africa, and many people remembered him dying, and they remembered funeral of him dying. And history tells us he was released from prison, became president, and didn't pass away until 2013. So why did so many people believe he died? But since then, the list has grown. And as you can see from some of these videos, did you remember Febreze with 2 E's? Millions of people did. Or the Berenstain Bears versus Berenstain Bears.
All right, what do you want? This is CNN or Luke, I'm your father?
And of course, Darth Vader, everyone remembers Luke, I am your father. Now they're saying it's a different line. No, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
I've never heard that before. Millions of people all share this same memory, and yet we're all being told we're wrong for believing that it existed that way. So is history being rewritten? So psychologists have even gone into this, talking about misremembering and saying people are just misremembering. But to me, that's just too neat. It's just too easy. We live in an age where digital archives, commercials, even maps are being altered instantly. I mean, back in the day, truth was locked into physical objects, books, maps, CDs, VHSs. Something was printed, pressed, or filmed, it existed in the real world. If you owned it, no one could silently change it. But now we see that everything is moved online, and now maps, movies, music, even history itself is stored on servers. And here's the catch. Digital archives can be edited instantly. Take Google Maps, for example. One day a street looks a certain way, or a border is drawn here, and the next day after that, it's an update and looks completely different. You have no permanent physical copy to compare against unless you screenshot it or you saved it to a file. So the digital version replaces your memory with a new reality. It's the same with movies and music. When films or albums were released on VHS, DVD, or CD, you had a physical disc. It was frozen in time.
Intricacies. I just remember what my own eyes saw, and that was 4 people sitting in the car. From what I understand, there's residual evidence of this one as well. In at least one museum is a replica car, a replica of the car JFK was sitting in when he was assassinated, and that car has 4 seats, not 6. And that's in an esteemed museum. I don't understand how somebody would make a mistake of that magnitude.
But now with streaming platforms and streaming companies like Netflix and Amazon Video, all of those movies, they can quietly change a line of dialogue or swap a logo or alter a scene, and the original vanishes. And it's happened already with platforms like Disney Plus and, like I said, Netflix, where edits were made without public notice. The old version is just gone, and the altered one becomes official. This is why the Mandela Effect feels so real for so many. It's not hard for tech companies or the government, wink, wink, working with them to make changes across digital platforms. They don't have to alter every VHS tape in the basement. They just need to alter 99% of what the world sees today, because the digital version becomes the truth for everyone moving forward. So when millions of people remember something differently, the question isn't why are we all misremembering? The question might be who changed the record and why. But fun fact, I worked for a company that did digital archiving for the city of San Clemente back in 2004. And I remember it was such an important task, get the information, because the city has data and information on people, places, things, all kinds of different things that they have that are important documents. And if the archivist doesn't get this information right, what could that do to who maybe says, no, I submitted that permit. Why is it not there? So when we become so reliant only on this digital version of our life, which what they're trying to accost us into, we're like sheep being herded into this little pen of having a digital footprint, and everything becomes digitized. This is why I always tell people it's important to get everything in writing, print a copy for yourself, keep a copy of these digital for yourself. And I know that that's getting harder with technology, forcing us into buying digital versions of everything and not having a hard copy. But if you go to a medical facility, ask for a copy of your CD. Every time I get a scan or a mammogram, I ask for a digital copy because they can alter anything. And with things like AI now and deep fakes and controlled media, it's getting much easier for them to rewrite history. And when I say they, you probably are wondering who I'm talking about. But I think you guys are smart enough to know who they are. So think about it. If they can change what you see today, what makes you think they can't already edit what you remember from yesterday? Now, for this segment, I want to talk about CERN and the strange ritual that was viewed by many on YouTube. Now let's connect this to CERN. So what is the European Organization for Nuclear Research? They're home of the world's largest particle collider, and they say their mission is to unlock secrets to the universe or of the universe. Think dark matter, the God particle, hidden dimensions, black holes, even conditions just after the Big Bang. That's what they're trying to get to. But in 2016, something strange happened. A video surfaced of hooded figures, pictured here, staging an occult-style ritual in front of CERN's Shiva statue. Shiva is the goddess of destruction and rebirth. The footage showed what looked like a human sacrifice going on as well. CERN later admitted that this was a prank by staff and unauthorized, and they condemned it. But still, ask yourself, why would scientists working at the most powerful machine on Earth stage something like that? Why joke about sacrifice and destruction at the very place probing for the mysteries of creation? One of the CERN researchers said willingly, what we are doing here is opening a door, and behind it we may find things we never imagined. What happens when you open a door you can't close? Pause and ask you to give this video a like, a thumbs up. It's free. I don't ask for very much, but I'm starting to ask because I'm growing desperate. My channel is not growing, and I do get a lot of views, but people just don't want to share a like, and I don't get why. I consider myself a pretty nice person, and I try to bring content that will either help you or give you something you didn't know, or touch on something that maybe you have a little interest in, but maybe to see it in a different light. As a publicist, I focus on what people are trying to convey to the world. And I think these topics are interesting and important for us to understand where we're headed and the perception that our government is trying to give us. So let's continue with the video. Obviously, this is a test of awareness. Here's where my opinion comes in, and I don't think the Mandela Effect is just innocent misremembering. I think it's a test, a litmus test. It's about seeing who's awake and who's paying attention to their reality and who's willing to just conform. Most people shrug and they say, well, who cares? A logo's been changed. Who cares if a movie line or a music lyric is different? But it matters, because if truth can be skewed in a tiny way like this, then they can eventually erase, alter, or plant anything that they want to. And let's face it, many people would conform. Americans today are too distracted, too consumed by virtual reality. Our phones, our feeds, our games, we live online more than we live in reality. And when that happens, the real world gets a little blurry. Willing to accept that you misremembered, What else will you be willing to accept? That's the question. Think about the movie Total Recall. The entire movie plot revolves around memory manipulation. They could erase a man's true life and make him believe in a completely fabricated version of himself. He didn't even know what was real until he started to actually fight back. That's the danger I see. The Mandela Effect isn't just about cartoons or cereal boxes. It's about conditioning us to accept altered truths. Now, to doubt what we know, to conform, is a huge problem. So ask yourself, when the time comes, will you stand for truth or will you just go along with it?